The National Basketball Retired Players Association was founded in 1992 as a charitable nonprofit with a two-pronged mission to assist former players in their transition from the court to life after the game and to positively impact communities and kids through basketball. Sean Powell recently sat down with four of the founding members, Oscar Robertson, Dave Bing, Archie Clark, and Dave Cowens, and talked about how the game has changed over the years.
I also want to ask you, gentlemen, about today's game, and I'll even continue with you, Dave. Whatever happened to the traditional center?
Well, they're still there. This game has been incentivized to take shots from the perimeter. The way the game is designed, the tactic of the game, the strategy of the game, puts people in certain places. So if you incentivized, used to be the only time you got layups most of the time was on a fast break when you had numbers because the lane was packed in. You were protecting the paint all the time. Now you protect a line 23 feet from the basket. So it's just different in terms of where the players get placed.
One of the other weapons today is the crossover dribble. Of course, you're the godfather of the move. First of all, how did you get away with it with the referees? Because back then, it was a little bit tricky. They were probably blowing the whistle in terms of a carry.
It was a move to change direction. The key to getting where you wanted to get, you had to know how to change directions. And the crossover was the best way I knew how to change directions.
You didn't break anyone's ankles up here, did you? Anybody's
I think I gave everybody up here something. It was difficult playing against Oscar because a lot of time Oscar wouldn't commit, you know what I mean? But Dave and I, you know, he and I were pretty much the same size, same speed and everything, and it was very difficult to get around him because we matched speed so much.
As I recall, dribbling was frowned, a lot of excess dribbling was frowned upon when we played because it was better to advance it with a pass and, you know, get somebody to cut away from and move away from the ball, you know, off the ball, because it was more crowded. So if you started trying to break somebody down, all of a sudden there's another hand in there, there's another foot in there. So all the coaches were saying, you know, yeah, you want to be able to break a guy down, but get to the basket like in 2 dribbles, 2.5 dribbles, and get, you know what I mean, and start working it out, not dancing around everybody and all this stuff, you know. We didn't see any of that.
My high school coach told me the very same thing. It happened when I first started practice, I get the ball and I'd bounce it. He said, "Why are you bouncing the ball?" I said, "What?" He said, "What if you want to go, you need to keep that dribble in case you got to, if you can't pass it and go, you got to dribble someplace." So I always remember that.
I think a lot of things today with the players who can handle the ball well, not only do they cross over very well, now they do the crossover and the step back, so that they are now creating space so that they can get their shot. And a lot of guys are doing that and doing it very, very well.
Interesting perspective on the way the game is played now from some guys who played it at a very, very different time in the league's history.
Love listening to those guys. I mean,
yeah.
you hear the stories, you hear the passion, you hear the how they love the league, and I'll tell you, those gentlemen right there have changed a lot of retired players' lives with whether insurance, benefits, appearances, licensing. I mean, they have gone to bat for all of us in a big way, and we owe a lot of gratitude to those gentlemen.
Yeah, without question, I agree with you. I could watch that type of video forever. Yeah. Just the same way I like Matt on open court, you know, with some of the guys today. You ought to have an open court with those guys. But listen, they were really the pioneers of the Retired Players Association. And, you know, when I think about them, they're a group that really is all-inclusive. You know, not in the too distant recent past. You only need to be in the league 1 year to actually become a member, and they've embraced the Globetrotters, they've embraced the WNBA, you know, and the ABA.
ABA players.
It's great. And listen, truth be told, you know, All-Star Weekend the way it is now, one of the best events the entire weekend is the Legends Brunch, which was started by these guys. And it's just, it's great to see where they've come, and hats off to them.
And let's not to forget, Dave DeBuscher was a big part of that as well.
Yes,
passed away when he was 62, walking the streets of New York. So he was a big part of that, a 2-time world champion with the Knicks. He was also a catalyst with that group to get the retired players where they're at today.